Good morning, good afternoon, or good night, and welcome to Command Power, the show in which we discuss all things Magic the Gathering with a focus on Commander.
And today we have another episode in our Spoiler Spotlight series in which I talk about, well, spoilers and tell you what my thoughts are on them. But before that, just a quick reminder to click subscribe if you enjoy my videos. We're well on our way to 1 million subscribers and your support means everything to me. And today we're going to be talking about connecting the dots. For 1 colorless and 1 red, it's an enchantment that says, whenever a creature you control attacks, exile the top card of your library face down. You can't look at it. And 1 colorless and 1 red, discard your hand, sacrifice connecting the dots, put all cards exiled with connecting the dots into their owner's hands. So this one I feel is a very interesting one for a couple of different reasons. It plays on similar effects we've seen from red in the past, but it kind of makes them better and worse in certain instances. So to start off, this is a great source of card advantage for red in Commander. We can drop this very early in the game and just even on the same turn we drop it, start attacking with creatures to exile cards from the top of our library. We don't know what we're exiling, and that's one of the points where this is less good than similar versions of the card in the past. Not knowing what is hidden under this ensures that we kind of use it in the way that it's intended to be used, which is as a refill for when you have an empty hand or a very close to empty hand. What the designers didn't intend was for this to be kind of a tutor effect, which it kind of could be if you knew what you were exiling. You could just attack with a bunch of creatures, and when you've exiled whatever it is that you're looking for in your deck, you could sacrifice it to discard your hand without caring about what you were discarding. The way it is worded keeps it a little bit more fair, which I think is nice, but the upside is still there. You're basically going to want to run this in most red decks, and of course it goes up if you have any sort of synergy with it. What kind of synergies could you be looking for? Well, obviously you want to have a bunch of tokens or low to the ground creatures. That's always going to be good because that's going to trigger the first part of the card, and it means that you're eventually going to get a bigger payoff, and you're going to get that payoff earlier if you need to. Another good thing about this card is that the sacrifice ability is at instant speed. This would have really been hampered if it was a sorcery because of course people could have blown it up and you wouldn't have been able to respond by getting the cards. Whereas now leaving 2 mana up allows you to cash in those cards if you need to, no matter what. Another strategy that's going to be able to benefit from this is any strategy revolving around the graveyard. So of course if you're running something like Madness or Discard theme, then of course it's going to be very powerful because discarding the cards from your hand doesn't really feel like a cost anymore and can actually be a positive. Another situation that wants to play with the graveyard could be something like a Spellslinger deck that wants to fill the graveyard with instants and sorceries. Most red decks also run something like Underworld Breach, which of course is going to let you reuse all those cards that you've tossed into the graveyard. So again, filling up your graveyard if you have any of these effects in the deck is a net positive, which means that this card can work very well in those strategies. But what else does this card have synergy with? Well, it has synergy with cards that want to put things into exile. So there's Iraxa, Empress of Mars, there's Prosper, Tomebound of course, and there's also Faldon, which are all going to work very nicely with this deck because you're putting stuff into exile. Let's not forget about the War Doctor as well, which is going to trigger once per each time you exile a creature with this. And since you can put the triggers in any order you want, you can make sure you get the counters on the War Doctor before his own trigger to deal damage is going to go up. All of these things together just make me think that this card is definitely going to see some play. I do think that cards like these sometimes struggle to find the last slot in the 99 before being cut, but I think there are certainly going to be some decks that want to be using this. And at any rate, I'm just glad to see them experimenting with more sources of card advantage for red. So there you have it. Those have been my thoughts on this new spoiler. What do you think about this card? Please let me know in the comment section below. I read all comments and respond to all of them too. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to click like or subscribe. It really helps the channel. And until next time, take care.